Mr. Baylor, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And that's a good segue because this week is Esther Baylor's birthday, so if everyone can please wish Esther a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Esther. There is cake outside for anyone who wants to partake.
Are you one?
No other announcements after the most important one right there. As per will be a weekly thing for the next several months, the farmers market continues in Pearl River from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on North William Street between Washington Avenue and Central Avenue. There are a lot of vendors. It's grown each week. The vendors are good. They have the one that has these prosciutto and Iberico ham and stuff, really good. Some local ones too. Van Houten Farms was there. So get down, get some food, get some farm stuff every weekend from now through late November. Also, not on the announcements, but we still have ongoing our banner program for veterans. If you have a veteran you want to honor and want to have a banner up in one of our downtowns, email supervisor@orangetown.com, and we will take you through that process. It's through a third-party vendor, but we'll hold your hand through it. Finally, Aloof will be appearing before the ZBA at 8 p.m. tomorrow night at 619 for a public hearing related to their performance standards, at which point the independent engineer contractor will be presenting his findings, and there should be potentially a vote related to whether they've met the performance standards. So the ZBA has elected to hold that meeting in Greenbush Auditorium where the building department is, 8 p.m. start tomorrow night for the ZBA for Aloof. We were supposed to have a presentation. Yes,
I got
Dennis,
one quick thing. On Saturday night, there was a protest demonstration in downtown Pearl River regarding the release of one killer and possible release of the second. The murderers of Paula Boveski in 1980. And it was a very successful demonstration. About 2,500 people were there. One of the things they didn't do, as an oversight, and I want to do it now, is the Orangetown Police Department did a spectacular job there that night in terms of dealing with the 2,500 people, keeping them safe as they marched from the Central Avenue field down to Braunsdorf Park, and there was additional speeches down there. The Parks and Rec, Eric Gordon, also helped us out, and the Pearl River School District. So I just wanted to mention all of those. You don't have a demonstration like that with that many people without a lot of help. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. And Dennis has been involved with this issue for at least 15, 20 years now. Right? At least
I think it's
12 years, yeah. And as is Tom, they're both on the committee for that, and hopefully the next killer is not released, but and hopefully that there's a change in opinion by the parole board. But I doubt it as well. And you know what? People say don't make it political, but elections have consequences. If you vote for someone who supports this sort of stuff happens, and that's what happened with Governor Cuomo. So if these things matter, vote and tell your friends to vote, and vote in a way that's going to make sure killers stay off the streets, because now they're coming back because of the person in the governor's office. Everything in life is political, especially stuff like this, when it's all governor's appointees. Moving on, we don't have any presentations. We were going to have one from the contractors who we hired to do the Per River TOD ordinance drafting for us to discuss, but there was a fall and injury by one of them, so they're being pushed to the next meeting. Hope she's doing okay. There's a discussion item, High Tour intermunicipal agreement. We were supposed to have signed an IMA, as we did last year with Rockland County, who in turn contracts High Tour for the animal shelter services. That should have theoretically been done in December of 2018 for 2019. We finally got the IMA sent to us a few weeks ago when I threatened to just stop using them, period, because we got a citation from New York State Agricultural Markets for not having a contract. They finally sent it. They finally agreed to meet with the town supervisors, High Tour and the county after that threat, and sat down, talked to us. Tonight, the county legislator is voting whether or not to approve their side of the IMA. We are not voting yet on it because they have not yet to approve it on their side. I sent the letter in the backup expressing positions that I think everyone would agree with if they had heard it, related to the conditions at High Tour and the things we've gotten. They've had multiple violations from agricultural markets not related to that IMA to conditions there. They were originally going to put a policy for stray cats that would require our animal control officers to pick up the cats and bring them back to where we got them after they were spayed and neutered. We got them to change that portion of it, but right now it still reads that they will themselves try to bring the stray cats back. I think as a temporary stopgap, since we're already halfway through the year, the change is sufficient, in my opinion, but I don't think long-term this policy is correct. I think they need to deal with the issue however they deal with it and not put it back in our lap. Other issue is that in their presentation, they said that they will turn away animals when they're full. I know that I will personally tell the ACOs that if they bring an animal up there, they're not coming back with the animal. This is what happened. They tried to turn away cats the other time for us, and I told them, tell them you're going to open up the containers and let them out because we pay for them to take the animals. And they said that they wouldn't if they're full. And it's not up to us to make sure they have the right facilities or have the right processes. It's up to the county and High-Tor. Finally, and this is kind of a major item, they briefed us on the supposed new shelter. It's in the very, very preliminary phase, like the level that the town hall was at in 2017. Like, let's look through these options, and we have a basic schematic. The problem is, the biggest problem beyond it being at least 3 years away, is that the estimated cost between the two plans are $5 million and $7.5 million. The county currently is only allocated $1.2 million, and the state has $500 in grants. So there's at least $3.8 million just to get one that has enough space for the current level of dogs and no space for cats. Potentially up to an extra, 7.5 minus 1.2. High-Tor says that they can put in private funding to bring the total to 2.5. That leaves a $2.5 to $5 million gap that needs to be filled to have proper facilities. Having visited up there, it's basically one small cinder block building and a bunch of prefab buildings / trailers that everything's in there. And thus far, though it's a new board and hopefully they'll change things around no matter who's been in charge, the communication's been bad, the follow-through's been bad. So I raised these issues to the county in the letter saying that that I expect we will still sign the IMA, though it's up to us to vote whether or not to do that. But I did raise these issues so they're on the record with the county legislature when they make their decision as to whether to sign the IMA on their side. So we can wait to see what the county does and then make our decision as to whether or not to sign along or to find another option. There are other options. We've looked into the Hudson Valley Humane Society, talking with the other towns. There's other potential options out there, but it may be something where we say, let's sign for 6 months and spend 6 months looking for the other option and see if we have it really locked in. And if it gets fixed, great. If not, then we can pull the trigger in December of 2019 instead of mid-river, midstream. So, any thoughts on the High-Tor situation?
We have to wait for the county anyway. So
They got to vote tonight. We'll find out what they do.
You did a good job with the letter.
Thank you. Okay, so,
Funding,
what's that? The funding?
we're gonna have a major, I just don't think the county's gonna step up with the money.
I don't think they will either, and then that's a huge gap, and it's their asset. If they don't fix it and put a new one in, they're $2.5 to $5 million short. I mean, really 5, because how are you gonna build a shelter that doesn't have any space for cats? And that's just, and that's projecting out, it's gonna be at least 3 years. It's just, it's been being talked about for a long time, and it's obviously not being taken seriously, really. So hopefully it starts getting taken seriously, and maybe in the next 6 months, they'll take steps to properly fund it and to put out a contract for a full design process like we did for the town hall and we did for the community center. But if they're not doing those steps, they're not making progress, it's just a pie in the sky thing then. And they're gonna have these animals live in open situations and in trailers ad infinitum, which is, I don't think, a solution, personally. So, moving on from there, we're gonna workshop quickly what we have on the agenda, and then we'll come back to the public comment portion. We have a zone change, public hearing that will be continued because there were changes. Then we'll have a recirculation vote for the things that changed. That'll be continued to July 23rd. Then we have the 2 school resource officer, police officer agreement renewals for Pearl River and South Orangetown School District. The program's going very well as reported by both the school districts and our police department, and I'm very glad we're continuing that, and the school districts seem to be continuing that as well. Moving on, this item 7, this is to approve a minor textual amendment to the procurement policy we adopted, I think, a month or so ago. Basically just changing the names to reflect the promotions and such that were in there that we did recently. Then number 8, this is a really good one. I think it's actually an amazing one. The spot behind the solar panels that were put in Pearl River, we got an adopt-a spot for it. Someone's gonna make it look nice. This is the Middletown Road solar panels. Second Nature Lawn Care is going to be taking over that spot where the Pearl River sign is behind there. Plantings, cleaning it up. So we can't get rid of the solar panels, but we can make it look a lot nicer. And then the trees were planted on the big berm there. So one, I think a couple are dead. We'll be circling back around with the state, but this is really good to make it look a lot nicer going in. And frankly, it wasn't really super well taken care of before, so this might even look better. Then this next one we discussed at the last meeting was the to do a 5-person employee retirement incentive program. Just to touch on some of the things that we talked about. Basically, this would be the last group that we could conceivably do a retirement incentive on until there was a physical change in the structure of the building and or the softwares that we're implementing are fully implemented, which is a period of years for either of those. The software won't be ready for a year or two for the building department for highway for DME, and the building itself wouldn't be ready for a year, for 3 to 4 years probably based on the construction times. So that said, there were particular positions that we're looking at from the last budget being reduced. They were expected, so the hope is that those would be taken. And then we could also, anything that's taken that we don't want to reduce in number would at least get us to a better salary structure and better level set things. And then we can work the budget so we're just making use of our fund balance in an appropriate way, focused more on operational processes and not so much on trying to plus up manage any sort of tax increase to the 2% level, while making sure we're not using too much of our fund balance on operations, since we're going to be using it on construction of items for the town hall and for the community center. So this would be the same exact plan that was for last time, except it's only for 5, first come, first serve. They'd have to retire before the end of the calendar year, but commit before August to doing it. And then I won't be here, but I would recommend not doing this again for some time, because it's sort of thing if we do too much of, you're not going to get any headcount savings next year unless you have a new town hall, essentially is what it boils down to. We can get some this year that has been discussed. So. Resolution to approve certificate of sewer registration, then appoint Marianne Salmi to a permanent position, no change in salary. Approve Tapan Fire Department's open house use of message board on June 22nd. Approve the Bike MS New York City on various roads in the town of Orangetown Sunday from October 20th from 7 to 5. Approve change order for a residual chlorine reduction, 2 different ones for that, 2 different companies for the change orders. These are slight upward revisions based on requirements that we came into, but they're all funded. Resolution to adopt 6 months police registration regulation for a new stop sign. This is the piece of Independence that intersects with Low around the triangle where the Walkway of Heroes is. There's one of those triangle slices does not have a stop sign right now, and I think it's a good call. And then pay vouchers and adjournment in memory of several different people. Anything else that you folks would like to see added, or any other things that we missed that should be on the agenda? That's good. Tom?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so seeing nothing like that, what time we got here? 7:45. We're not quite at our public hearing time yet, so we will go straight to public comment then. Public comment rules. Is there any sign-ins for public comment or no? Do we have sign? I don't have a sheet. Okay. So public comment rules, you have 3 minutes. You can talk about anything you want, all right? When the bell tolls, it does toll for thee, and you must finish your sentence. But you do not have to cut off mid-word, and you also should not proceed to a second or third sentence. So there's one sign-in. Esther Baitler, you are the sign-in. And then we will take anyone who would like to raise their hand. Whenever you're ready, Esther.
Good evening, Supervisor Day and Town Board members. Hi, my name is Esther Baitler, and I'm a very unique consumer who lives in Spark Hill. Tonight, I'm here to address to all of you that I'm urging everyone to get out and play golf at the Venture Golf Tournament at New York Country Club. But the rules are you have to pay $225. We need you people to come out. If you play, it helps us to hire new comment our staff and a new human resource person. As of now, we are not fully equipped for staff up at the Venture office, and I can approve that. So I'm asking all of you, please, get out there and vote and play golf and pay $225. It's important to support Venture at this golf tournament. And I want to make sure that everybody knows, pay $225. Without me, there would never be a Venture Golf Tournament. And I've been trained by Dennis and Kathy Lucas on that. So thank you. I just want to thank you all for my birthday tonight. The way you wished me happy birthday was very appropriate. So again, I want to thank Teresa and the board and Rosanna and Kimberly. Have a great night.
Thank you, Esther.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Is there anyone else who would like to speak who is not signed in?
63.
Anyone? Yes, 63. You don't look a day past 62. That's impressive.
Good evening,
Whenever
members
you're
of
ready.
the board. I'd like to add some comments to what you were saying before, Supervisor Day, about what the end results of people that get elected to office. Today, I sent an email up to Senator Colucci about the way they vote in Albany now, the last minute at nighttime, when people have nothing, no comments to make. It's called the progressive agenda in New York State. We choose people to lead and enact legislation, and they take an oath to uphold our Constitution and be forthcoming with their agenda. Instead, we see dangerous legislation being voted on behind closed doors and late in the day. I call that the progressive lobbyists playing hardball to people like himself who only care about getting reelected. As a Republican, I have no voice when it comes to laws being enacted in Albany. Senator Colucci, to say the least, the following points I'm going to make. Aborted babies in the third trimester feel pain and move about in their mother's womb at about 3 months. Releasing 2 men who viciously murdered a beautiful young girl in Pearl River. The release of Judith Clark. The legalization of recreational marijuana has proven to create health issues, psychosis, depression, anxiety, suicide, the reshaping of brain matter, and addiction. If this is the new definition of recreation, then the Webster Dictionary will have to be amended. In this day of litigation, I feel sure that the legislators who approve these new laws will and should be held personally liable, just like restaurants and parents who allow customers and guests to drink too much and get involved in an accident when they leave their business or home. I am concerned that our driving insurance policies will go up. We pay a lot of money. We pay more money in New York State to drive a car than in many other states in this nation. I said personally he was raised with traditional values, et cetera. I don't want to go into that. How some people, Catholics especially, or Christians and Jewish people, can reconcile the release of these murderers and the aborting of babies is beyond my imagination. This is the new progressive Democratic Party. The old Democratic Party is gone, like yesterday's clouds. What New York State needs are residents and elected officials who will bring back Judeo-Christian values. I want my views to be heard and respected, not tossed aside at the midnight hour up in Albany. And tonight, they're working on the legalization of marijuana. People should call the state, all our state officials. I keep picking on Colucci, and he does listen to me. But it's a very sad commentary on what's happening in this beautiful state. Anyway, thank you for listening to me. And also, The Palisades Community Center this weekend has a fund on for High Tour. We're asking people to donate blankets, food, and newspapers. They can bring them to the center. They can leave them on their front doorstep if the door is not opened.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Eileen.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak who did not sign in? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close public comment.
Motion to close.
Motion closed by Councilman Divney. Is there a second? Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Nothing really to sort of respond to, other than to nod along in agreement with some and remind people about the venture golf tournament, so thank you both. We are still not quite at the point where we can continue this public hearing. We may not get there. We have to stop and have some cake if we're gonna go full speed through this, because it's only 7:52. But
The only thing to add to Eileen is the driver's license for
driver's license
illegal
for illegals
aliens.
just passed, yeah.
Driver's license for illegal aliens, which they voted on. So, that was last night, probably at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
You know, I do have to say, I think people, they vote for folks and they don't realize the positions they might have and then enact, and then they don't pay attention sometimes, because I don't really think most people support a lot of that agenda that voted for the people who are voting for it. If you look at even the abortion thing, I think 80% of people who are pro-choice, 75 to 85, somewhere in that number, who are pro-choice, oppose abortion up to the point of birth without at least life of the mother in danger, and yet it was approved. So we're talking about stuff that's out of line with Democrat positions. But it is what it is.
You got my vote.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna head and skip items 3 and 4 and come back to them, and move on to item 5, which is the SRO agreement. Is there a motion on the South Orangetown SRO agreement? Councilman Valentine with motion, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Right, and then the,
I would
yes, go ahead.
mention one other thing on the South Orangetown School District. The principal of Tappan Zee High School, Dr. Jennifer Amos, who was an active member on the town substance abuse committee for the years that she's been here, is leaving to become, I don't know the exact title, the head of education down at the United Nations. You know, so it's a thing, to me, it's a loss for the South Orangetown School District. She was just terrific when she was here, but she's very confident that her replacement is I think it's a doctor, but Rudy Arietta.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
Who was a Tappan Zee graduate, which is a good thing.
that's good.
so that's gotta be good then, right?
Can't hurt. All right. So next one is the same thing, SRO agreement for the Pearl River School District. Is there a motion on that one? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Got some cross-school district votes here. Got a South Orangetown guy moves to South Orangetown, Pearl moves to Pearl River. Next, we have the textual amendment to the procurement policy for the names of who's in it. Is there a motion?
Move.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve the adopt-a-spot by Second Nature Lawn Care for the area behind the solar panels. Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to introduce a voluntary employee retirement incentive for 2019. 5 people now and between now and August 1st. They must submit it. First come, first served. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Next is approval of certificate of sewer registration. Motion by
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to appoint Marion Salmi to a permanent version of her position. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve the Tapan Fire Department open house use of our message board on June 22nd.
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve the use of some of our roads on October 20th, this Sunday, by the Bike MS fundraiser. Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve change order number 1 for Jet Industries for the chlorine reduction contract.
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve, same thing, but for Fanshawe Inc. for a different part of the contract. Is there a motion? Councilman Divney, Councilman Troy with a second. All in favor? Before we move on from DME, just a brief update. I know there's been, we had the whole ammonia issue in addition to the chlorine issue with the $40 million potential expense. People do ask about it, but I'll say publicly now, basically, there's been no resolution completely of it, but we have received signs from the DEC. They've given us extensions. We're working hand in hand with the county, and it looks like they're going to be potentially accepting a much lower cost solution to the problem that will fix it for both us and Rockland.
Damn nice.
I mean, we're talking like lower costs, like, you know, potentially less than $1 million lower cost. So we'll see. From 40, that would be a heck of a deal. So we're still moving along. They have been actually very easy to work with comparatively to what we expected. They listened to what we've said. They gave us extensions to make us tie in with the county. We appreciate them being flexible with that. And they're recognizing that we have to do it together because we share the same outfall. So right now, the county is in lead on a new study or a continuation of the study that we were in to redo the math on it. And based on what that is, we'll determine whether there is no solution required or whether the solution will be a much easier solution. We should have that answer in the next several months, and hopefully we'll be able to not have to worry about that problem, and that'll be great.
Congratulations to you and to the Director of DEME, Eamon Riley, in terms of moving this ahead. So,
Yeah, the efforts of Eamon and Mike Weber over there have been really important, and we could have just rolled over and accepted this at the beginning, but we went all hands on deck, and it seems to be working. So, right combination of aggressiveness and friendliness, I think, with them. So, good job by Eamon and his team. Thank you, Dennis. Moving on from that to the Traffic Advisory Board, adopt a temporary regulation for a new stop sign on Independence Avenue approaching Low Lane. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, I'm going to second it because I live right there, and I really am glad that's going in. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Audit for Jeff with the pay vouchers.
thank you.
Okay, tonight's audit consists of 2 warrants for $533,000. The first warrant had 5 vouchers for $4,700 and was for project graduation. The second warrant had 198 vouchers for $528,000. Items of interest, Capasso, $62,000 for recycling. Number 6, Global Montello, $19,000 for fuel. Number 7, Goosetown, $29,000 for police equipment leases. Number 8, New York Power Authority, $21,000 for the streetlight financing. We're starting to pay them back now. Number 10, PFK O'Connor Davies, $74,000 for our audit. Number 12, Sprague Operating Resources, $16,000 for fuel. And number 13, the comptroller, $48,000 for justice fines. Any questions on the audit?
It's PKF O'Connor Davis, Jeff.
Correct.
That makes me question everything in it, that you got that wrong.
Oh, you're right, PFK.
I'll have to trust you on the numbers. Obviously, you're not a words guy.
We can do the hearing, I think, right?
It's is it 8:05 hearing, 8:15 hearing? 8 o'clock? It says 8:15 on here, but why would it be 8:15? It must have been left over from a previous one. That's awesome. All right, is there a motion on the audit? Councilman Divney, second by. Councilman Valentine, all in favor? All right, so can we just confirm that this was sent out for 8:15 PM, this thing, the public hearing? That's what it says on what I'm looking at. Are we able to continue it prior to 8:15, since we're not doing anything? We have to wait till 8:15? Okay, I'm gonna move for a 14-minute 13. We're continuing, Teresa, until July. They found an amendment, yeah. As long as we're just continuing, do no actions, I think continuing, we're okay.
All right, motion to open hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing related to a zone change by Councilman Divney. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Troy. All in favor? All right.
Motion to continue the hearing on July 23rd, 2019 at 8 p.m.
We have it as 8:15 because there is another one at 8. So
All right, motion to continue hearing at 8:15 July 23rd, 2019.
Second by Councilman Troy, all in favor?
All right.
Glad you're up here. Rob would have made us sit through it.
Paul, you gotta leave.
Yes, we have one abstention for both those.
Paul's gotta leave the room. Get out of here, Paul.
So we have 3 in favor, 1 abstention on both of those motions, because Paul is abstaining from them. Even a simple one like that, he's doing the right thing. Okay, next we have, we will be adjourning into executive session, but we do have a few folks that we want to recognize who passed since the last meeting. Charles Lewis Behrens, 40 resident of Blauvelt, father of town employee Justine Favre of Demi. Jeannie Goldstein, former assistant to the town supervisor and former chairperson of the Orangetown Democratic Committee. Sheila Hussey, resident of Pearl River and owner of the Irish Cottage for many years. And Tim O'Keefe, former manager of Nissan of West Nyack. Anyone else who's passed recently, or anyone have any extra color to add to those folks that we are adjourning in memory of? No? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move us into move that we enter executive session to discuss contracts, and is there anything else other than contracts? Is there legal settlements or something? No?
Nope.
Right. To discuss, what was that?
Personnel.
Contracts and personnel matters, and immediately thereafter adjourn in memory of those 4 folks. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Divney, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, and we're gonna be in this room for executive session, folks, because we're gonna use they were hooked up for a presentation in here, so if we could just, well, since you're all employees, go, get out of here, and I can tell you what to do. You work for the town. Thank you.